Hey gang, welcome to yet another episode of Drunk Bible Study bonus content. Today, I want to take a little bit of a left turn. And so basically, before we record the show every single time, Jace yells at us and reminds us that we're not...
That sounds about right.
Yeah, we're not supposed to take the Lord's name in vain on this show. We do try our best to avoid swears and to avoid errant usages of God, Lord, Jesus, stuff like that. But then I just kind of started wondering how that policy came to be, what we all felt about it.
Some reminders about our show.
Yes.
We don't say God or Lord or Jesus, any of those, any form.
Lord really threw me, man.
Yeah,
Lord
sorry.
really threw me. Because we say the Lord, but if I say, oh my Lord, then that's a no-no.
Right. It's basically like the rule that I learned as a child is if you're using it in an actual like sentence about the Lord, it's fine. But when it's as an exclamation, that's when it's not fine.
What if I say, oh my goodness, the Lord is great?
That's
as an
fine.
As an expletive.
I mean, that's fine. It's weird and would sound insincere coming from you, but like that wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like saying the Lord is great or like, you know, God bless it is fine. But saying God or oh my God is not fine.
Emily, what
about
was
oh my
your
goodness?
experience growing up with expletives and taking the Lord's name in vain?
Well, I definitely could not say God. I wasn't allowed to until my grandmother died.
Right, I was going to ask, is that a grandma thing?
Literally everything went out the window and we started swearing like the day that my grandmother died. I'm not even kidding. My mom was like, fuck, and I was like, mother, and she's like, what? And I'm like, wow, here we are. And that's my story.
Wow. But
yeah,
like
that was essentially it. I don't know. I do remember her like swearing like immediately after that happened, and I realized that, and she kind of said, yeah, the reason that I was not allowed to swear and that she didn't swear was just because it was so insane to my grandmother to do that. It's like, oh,
and
no.
then so how old were you? Like 12?
No, she died when I was 17.
Oh wow, jeez.
I know, but
wow.
I definitely
thought you had a much longer history with swearing.
Oh,
for some
I
reason.
did. I started swearing when I was much younger, but just like not at home. But now the
Right,
cat's out of the
okay.
bag. My mother swears, I
And
swear.
then at home,
Yeah.
and then immediately you started swearing too.
Yeah, quite a bit at home. I mean, yeah. And
I just have a memory, like not a memory. I wish it was a memory. I have an image in my head of you and your mom just like trashing your home, just like F this, screw that.
It's not completely like how it is.
Freaking.
Oh my gosh. It's not completely like all the time. It's just, you know, once in a while, absolutely. And maybe more than once in a while with me. I think it's ramped up, unfortunately. Sorry, it's just a part of my vocabulary now. It's terrible. I try to check myself sometimes, especially around the people that I'm currently with, because they are very pious. Not really, but like they you know, read the Bible and
More
stuff.
sensitive
and
to language.
Don't swear, yeah. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't just say the F word every single other word, basically. Every single other word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dedeker, what about you? Like, what was your? How did you swear as a kid? What was the deal? How'd that happen?
No, I definitely did not swear for
Ever?
quite a while.
Like, were you guys the never ever swears? Because I've met a couple people that don't ever swear at all, like in any capacity, not even like hell, which is wow.
Is that like a never nude, a never swears?
Exactly.
Yeah, basically.
What was it? Well, I had kind of mixed influences because I went to Christian school, and of course they were very anti-swearing,
Right.
including
Of course.
no God, no Jesus, no hell, no damn.
Yeah.
You know, no, even geez and golly.
Yeah,
I was taught
because they were
are
just
Golly,
close.
short- yes.
They're close to
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
and Jesus.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I could get away with for some reason, even though they did kind
Yeah.
of tell us that is technically a version that's just as bad as saying "oh my god."
No, it's
but no, I
not.
said "oh
So
my
you
gosh."
were allowed to say that one though.
What about
I was
goodness?
allowed to say it though.
Okay.
Goodness.
I could say "oh goodness." I could say "oh heavens." This is the thing
Oh,
though.
really?
My grandmother swore all the time. I had the
What?
opposite grandmother of you, Emily.
What?
No, my grandmother called all her grandchildren little shits to their face
Holy shit! Oh my god.
in a loving way.
Yeah, clearly.
In a very loving way. I do mean that genuinely, in a very loving way.
Ah,
Like,
you little shit.
As we got away with stuff that little shits get away with.
Right.
So, and my grandmother also said crap a lot. And I have a memory. I got in big trouble when I was 13 at my Christian middle school for saying crap.
Really?
no.
At
Yes,
school?
at
Okay.
school.
I got
I
in
was in
trouble at
PE
home
class.
for saying sucks.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Yeah, I got in
That's
trouble for that one as a
stupid.
kid.
See,
Yeah.
we could say
Yeah.
sucks. That's the irony.
Really?
Is sucks was fine.
This
Oh.
thing sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, one time I said "Holy Mother" once and got in big trouble, and I had no idea that was a bad thing to say because I was like, it doesn't break any of the rules as far as
Right.
I understood.
Right.
And then it
I'm
was
just saying
explained.
mother and I'm saying holy.
Yeah, and it was explained to me that Holy Mother of God is like the whole
the
expression,
whole
and I had
phrase.
no clue. I thought it was just
Interesting.
like saying, holy rusted metal, Batman, like, whatever kind of thing. But I got in big trouble for that one.
Wow. Yeah. So the funny thing is that when I was 12 was when I started reading sci-fi books that taught me how to swear.
Oh,
And
interesting.
that was when I did the whole
Ah.
thing of I don't swear at home or in front of anyone who cares, but I swear with my friends.
Right, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I remember getting in trouble once because I said hell. And yeah, my mom had said something to the effect of wow, you've really developed quite a mouth. And then, little did she know. I'm sure you can hear that in my mother's voice, but
Yeah.
little did
Yeah.
she know. That was back in
Specifically-
freshman year of high school.
Specifically in my home growing up, God damn, that was the worst one.
It's the worst, yeah.
Worse than
Yeah.
shit, worse than the F word. I just remember that if anyone in a movie said God damn, my mom would audibly gasp.
Yeah.
That they said that.
No,
Yeah.
it's funny. I was in a play once, and my acting manager at the time,
Oh,
came and
yeah.
saw it, and it was about the Columbine shooting. And basically, in it, people say GD a lot. And afterwards, she was, very complimentary, and it was it was really good. It had a really hard time with how often they said GD, but for her, that was the thing. And I kind of remembered oh yeah, I guess that is kind of the worst of the swears according to those rules,
Some
I
people.
guess, according to some people's rules.
How funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Boy. No, for me, it started out in maybe 6th grade is when I first started saying shit or,
Yeah.
little
6th
swears.
grade is a good gateway year.
Yeah, little swears. But I feel for me, it wasn't until probably post-college that I would ever take the Lord's name in vain.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, not counting gosh or
Whoa.
geez or gee willikers or anything like that. But
Gee
yeah, actually
willikers.
saying God or Jesus was I wouldn't do it.
Wow.
That one
Was
took
this
me a long
after
time.
your ex-evangelical days, as you were being ex-evangelicalized?
Yeah, even for a while it there was still this residual sense of that's just not something that's okay to say.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez. My relationship with swearing and taking the Lord's name in vain has really gone back and forth these days. I think thanks to this
Oh.
show, I've really picked up saying God bless it instead of God damn it. Now that's just second nature now. They say God bless it.
Yeah.
I actually don't mind that so much.
I still I left my lunch on the table the other day, and there's nothing at Disney that I can eat, and so I definitely said a ton of explicatives on the bus as I realized that all of that food was still sitting there, and I did
no.
feel bad because there were these two sweet Christian boys that probably did not want to hear me saying all these things, but I
Aw.
said them anyways.
Oh.
Hopefully I think they still like me. I think they still like me, even though I take the Lord's name in vain so often. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully.
What's your policy on the next generation swearing?
What do you mean?
Well, okay,
Goes to hell.
6 months. No, I mean 6 months
Gosh.
ago, my
Uh-huh.
10-year-old niece, I learned
Oh.
she did not do this in front of me. I learned from my sister that she dropped an F-bomb,
Oh.
and my sister.
Whoa.
I don't think she got
How
in
old is she?
trouble.
10?
10, yes. My sister was
boy.
like, "Oh, that's because it's public school."
Right.
My sister,
It's public school for you.
I mean, my sister recounted the story in front of my niece, and we were all kind of chuckling about
Okay.
it. So, like, I don't think my
Alright.
niece got in like major trouble or anything like that. Just my sister made it clear, like, "Oh, it's not okay to say that." But
Right.
I was definitely shocked, like, "Oh my goodness, you're 10.
Right. How would you know
How
such
would
things?
you?" But then I'm like, "But should I be so prudish about that? Does it matter? What's your opinions about that with the kiddies?"
I mean, yeah, I do wonder about that because I know in 6th grade, I was 13. It was like right after I got back from Australia and New Zealand, like a big trip that I did with a bunch of kids.
You were like, "Oh, crikey."
Oh, jeez, that was pretty funny. No, I wasn't cranking all over the place, but I was definitely like saying shit and stuff all over the place.
Oof.
Yeah, I think it
It's
is.
because you're hanging in a country of a bunch of convicts.
No, well, yeah, I guess you're right. No, but I was hanging out with a bunch of kids who were like in 7th and 8th grade also, and so I do think
yeah.
it is
Bad influence,
No, that's
those
the thing.
older kids.
It's the older kids that are like the influence around you, and then James, one of my best friends, like he has 2 older brothers, and so we would hang out with them, and they would swear all the time too. And so, yeah, it was just the influence
yeah.
in my life. So, I mean, if any kids are around me ever in any capacity, I'm assuming
They're going to get a bad influence.
well, I mean, they may, yes. Or I try to not swear as much when I'm around younger children, but sometimes it comes
Yeah.
out.
There was one time, this was 2 years ago,
Oh,
we were
boy.
getting on a call to do a meeting, the 3 of us, and I was at my sister's house, and my niece was cuddled up to me. She was just cuddled up to me, and she was curious about what we were doing, and we were getting the meeting set up, and you were having an issue, Emily, like the connection or whatever, or getting your mic set up or whatever, and you were just like swearing up a storm,
I'm
and
sure I was like, me.
and Jason and I were both like, "Emily, Emily, Emily," and then you saw her, and I think you swore again when you saw
Oh,
her or
shit.
something like that. You're like, "Sorry." Yeah, you're like, "Oh shit, sorry."
Sounds about right.
So maybe she picked it up from you. Maybe it's your fault.
oh, no.
That
Yeah, you
wouldn't
could totally
surprise
throw
me
Emily
at
under
all.
the bus.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah. Well.
So I'm actually going to give like a real philosophical answer here.
Oh, please.
Let's hear it.
So the thing I don't want to do is to like give words more power than they actually have. So in terms of like, like GD being like this really terrible thing, or the Lord's name somehow being like this magically powerful word that you shouldn't use, I don't want to teach kids that because it's just not true, and I think it makes you vulnerable to things that you don't need to be, and it doesn't benefit you in any way. But I do think there's value in teaching kids not to swear by default, because it is easy to just get into the habit of that, and then you kind of stop trying to come up with other things, and you stop like thinking about what you say before you say it.
Yeah.
So that for me would be it. It's like I would want to teach them this word isn't inherently bad, but it's not something to say in polite company, and to try to like clarify that. So I don't know how that would look in practice though.
Yeah.
Like could you say it at home?
Yeah.
Maybe you do, but kind of acknowledge like, oops, sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
So kind of about like not getting into the habit.
Yeah,
of
just
it.
don't make it the default. Just everything doesn't have to be F this, F that,
Well,
At least come up with some kind of clever Shakespearean insult.
I mean, in my case, it's coming up with random things like, by golly gee shucks, or, some random old-timey thing.
A friend of mine did once say that, she was trying not to swear as much simply because she wanted to strengthen her vocabulary and other manners, and there were ways in which to like say explicatives, but in a different way, like in a smarter, more intelligent way or whatever. And I thought that was fascinating, and I was like, well, damn. Maybe I'm just like robbing myself of the opportunity to like find better words here, but
Yeah, you
anyways,
could be
that was something to ponder.
You could be wondering, being like, "Yay, forsooth," instead.
Indeed,
Very
yeah.
good,
There
yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, well, we would love to hear from all y'all. What's your policy on swears? What's your policy on taking the Lord's name in vain? Has that changed over the course of your life? Did you have a non-swearing grandma or an extra swearing grandma? Let us know. You can tweet at us, you can Instagram us, or you can let us know in our Drunk Bible Study Fans and Fellowship Facebook group. And we will see you there.